Hi, and welcome to this new episode of The Path of the Feminine. The Path of the Feminine is a series that is all about. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I am Yasmin Soraya, and this is The Path of the Feminine, another episode of this wonderful series where we talk about feminine embodiment, empowerment, and spirituality, and everything related to that. And today we are talking about a really interesting topic. Today we are talking about why most spiritual practices don't actually make your life better and what really will. And you might have already guessed it. The answer is the feminine path. And why and how that is so is something we're going to explore in this video now. So stay tuned, keep on watching if you want to find out what will truly help you make your life better. So to start this whole video, I would like to go a little bit into my own experience. I want to tell you a bit my story because I am not speaking about this topic. I'm not making this claim from just a knowledge, mind-based logic experience. I am making this claim from my own lived experience through what I have been through in life, what I've seen, what I have experienced. And so we're going to start many years back. The story begins in my early 20s when I started to really dedicate and devote myself to my spiritual practice, to my spiritual path. I had been through quite the awakening, a dark night of the soul, quite some trauma, quite some bad experiences, but that is not what we're talking about today. But let's just say I was kind of pushed into finally walking on that spiritual path, finally finding my spiritual path. And like as most people in the beginning do, I started going into the classics, into the whole mind work, belief shifting, affirmations, meditation, work with your consciousness, expand your consciousness, and transcend your body and overcome the physical existence, and so I was doing all of this, and this is all wonderful work, and this is all absolutely valid, but it's all very masculine based work, and only masculine based work that is very focused about transcending the physical existence, transcending the material realm, transcending the body, transcending our existence as humans on this earth, and only focusing on expanded consciousness, on the mind, on transcending and going into higher realms and achieving that spiritual enlightenment. And what I experienced as I was doing these practices was that, of course, my spiritual life felt like it was getting better. I noticed I was more conscious, I had more awareness and everything. I was feeling that there was a shift in my spiritual life. I was definitely achieving something there. But what I also noticed is that my human life felt worse and worse to me. I noticed that I could live less and less in the human world, in the physical material world out there that I also needed to exist in. It felt worse and worse to me to live in this reality while I was also accessing this transcendent spirituality, expanded consciousness reality, where I was in the ethers, where I was astral projecting, where I was working in the quantum field, where I was just in the non-material existence. And that was a very bad experience for me because I felt like I didn't want to exist in the human realm anymore. I didn't want to exist in physical earth anymore. I just wanted to stay in the ethers. And I've actually talked about that with a lot of people, and a lot of people have experienced that the more they do the transcendental work, falling over my own tongue, the more they do only the transcendental work, the more they struggle with existing in the physical plane, in this world. So if you're not intending to be a monk meditating on a mountain all your life, but you actually want to have a human life in a normal environment, in a normal human reality, then just doing transcendental work can be really dangerous because it widens the split. And what do I mean by it widens the split? Well, when we're doing only transcendental work, so only the masculine spiritual work, what we are doing is we are denying our physical existence. We are denying our physical body. We are deeming it as not good, not spiritual, not enlightened, not something that is worth our attention or worth our care, not something that matters. We start seeing, and that's really the trap that I see a lot in those only masculine based spiritual approaches. The body is deemed as just the place you need to, like, the home you need to exist in to live as a human being, but not as what it really is, an expression of your soul. Your body is not just the house that you live in as a soul, it is literally created by your soul as an expression, a physical extension of your soul. So your body is a direct representation, a material physical representation of your soul. And when we start ignoring that, or when we do those only transcendental approaches to spirituality and only those practices, we start losing that connection to the body. We start deeming it as just something material, and the material doesn't matter that much because we are only interested in transcending it, rising above it. Good is all that is outside the material, outside the physical, outside the body, all that is in the higher realms, and all that is material, physical in the body is not good. We don't want that. So we start splitting our reality. We start splitting ourselves in two. We start living, on the one hand, in the physical realm, in the physical reality as bad, as negative, as something that we don't want to experience and we don't like and we don't feel comfortable in. And then we escape into the ethers. We escape into the transcendental practices, into the higher realms, into higher consciousness, and deem that as good, the other thing as bad. And then it starts getting really hard to be a human being in a normal human environment and life. And I experienced that in my own reality. The more I did these practices, these spiritual practices, the more I felt I could not live a normal life anymore. I felt so bad about all the human stuff. It felt all itty and gritty and like I didn't want it. I couldn't deal with it. I felt so uncomfortable about it, and I just always wanted to escape into the ethers. Like, meditation wasn't about connecting with the divine and connecting with myself that much anymore as it was an escape. It became an escape. And it was only when I discovered the feminine path that I came to realize what was missing in this whole puzzle, and why, although I was doing all the stuff I was supposed to do, my life felt worse instead of better. Because I was only one-sided. And this is really the danger when we do all these transcendental practices. It is one side of the coin. I am not saying that all these practices are absolutely beautiful and valid. They are, but only if they are in a balance with the other side of the coin, with the other aspect, the descendental practices, the feminine practices. These transcendental practices are masculine spiritual practices. But to create a balance, we need yin and yang. We need yang and yin in that case, masculine and feminine. We also need the yin practices. And the yin practices do not focus on the ascension, the transcending the body, the transcending the physical reality. The feminine practices, they focus on descension, on descending into the body, on becoming fully human, on being fully in your body, being fully alive in this human existence, connecting to the physical, connecting to this reality through your awareness, through your consciousness, through becoming present in the here and now. And we find the ascension, so the enlightenment of the whole soul, through the descension, through allowing ourselves to become fully human, to come fully into the body, to land fully in this physical existence with an expanded consciousness, with a higher awareness, with a crystalline light body, but just as much as we have a physical body connected to a physical existence. And then we create ascension through descension. So we descend to then ascend, because ascension is not the same as transcending. When we transcend, we leave the physical realm. When we ascend, we raise the frequency of the physical realm. We raise the frequency of our physical bodies to higher and higher stages until we reach enlightenment in the body and with the body. So we increase the frequency of our car bodies, of our light bodies, of our energy bodies to become brighter and brighter and stronger and stronger and stronger until we reach enlightenment through the body, with the body. So ascend through descent is the path of the feminine. We want to land in the bodies. And this is what I got to experience. This was at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I was really deep in my spiritual work. I was doing all these practices, and the split had gotten so big, I didn't know how to live as a human being anymore. I was so close to like losing it. That's what it felt like. And that's when I truly discovered the feminine path. And I worked with all these different mentors, and I started doing all these feminine practices and integrating them into my usual spiritual practices. And something happened that I did not know I could experience. Out of nowhere, within a few months, my life turned around 180 degrees. 180 degrees. I cannot explain to you, but it was less than 3 months that it took. And my life felt completely different. Where before I felt so disconnected and so split in two and so like I couldn't exist in this human realm. Now I felt alive and happy and anchored in my body and anchored in my physical existence, and still in perfect alignment with all my expanded consciousness practices and like increasing my awareness, increasing my energy field and my light body, and doing all the work, doing all the awesome other practices that I've learned. But now that I had the other side of the coin, now that my practices were balanced, and there was the descending practices with the ascending practices, out of nowhere, like there was this breakthrough for me, and my life felt balanced and in harmony, and I felt like I was making leap after leap after leap after leap of transformation forward. I was changing so fast I couldn't keep up with it myself, because where before I was completely out of balance and I could not go forward, because it's kind of like when I have the perfect example. You know, if you're having a boat and you're rowing in the boat, like a rowboat, and you're rowing in a boat, and you're only rowing on one side. If any of you has ever been in a rowboat, you know what happens. You go in circles. You're not getting forward at all. You just row in circle and circle and circle. And that's what happened to me when I was doing just these practices that we usually stumble upon in the beginning of a spiritual journey, just the transcendental stuff and all of that. I was going in circles. I wasn't getting any further, and I kept feeling worse and worse and worse and more frustrated. But as soon as I started rowing with the other paddle too, and I was rowing on both sides, now the big shift happened, because now both sides were rowing. What happens? You go forward. You move along your path. You actually get somewhere. And of course, depending on where you want to go, you row a bit more with this side or that side. You can change direction, but you're actually getting somewhere. So that's what happened in my life. And out of nowhere, I was making these big leaps forward. And I was realizing like, damn it, life can actually be so beautiful and so amazing. And being this physical human being is not something I need to overcome. This is something I get to enjoy. I get to live. I get to be so happy. I get to have all these amazing human experiences, and do all my spiritual work and work on my energy, work on my light body, work on my consciousness, reach those highest states of consciousness within my body and with my body. And I could feel how my body was changing through that. My relationship to my body was really bad before. I could there was a billion things that I didn't like about my body, that I felt so bad about, and I constantly feel like I had to change it. I had to get thinner and lose weight there, and change this and fix that and do this and do that to like get my body to match some sort of ideal. And I felt really disconnected in all of that. I also didn't feel like I was actually living in my body. I wasn't feeling my body much. It was just pretty much from here upwards. But when I started finding that balance with all the feminine practices that I was adding into my spiritual practices, what happened was that I started descending into my body. I started living in my heart space, living in my belly, living in my womb, in my pelvis, in my legs, in my feet. Like, this is probably the biggest example. This is a bit uncomfortable to talk about, but hey, whatever. The best example for that is I used to have a real problem with my feet. Before I started creating the balance in my spiritual practices, I, in general, had a really big problem with feet. I was like really disgusted by feet. And I never understood why. But looking back now, I understand, because the feet are the most grounded part of us, the most descended part of us, the part of us that directly roots us into the earth, connects us to the earth. So if you reject being human and being in a physical body, of course, the thing you'll reject most is the feet, because they directly root you into the physical realm. So I was rejecting my feet because I was rejecting the physical existence. And when I started doing all the healthy work to create that balance again, I actually started having real appreciation for my feet, in a sense of like, I started realizing what a gift it is to have feet that carry you around the world, and how incredible it is to walk barefoot and feel the pulse of the earth underneath your feet, and feel the grass and feel the sand and feel the different grounds, and what an amazing way it is to connect to Mother Earth, nature, the network around us, and how actually our feet are these incredible energetic portals and gateways through which we can connect into the web of life, and actually feel so much, and notice so much, and connect to so much, and receive so much from that web of life. So I started really opening those portals within my feet to root into the earth and connect with the web of life. And that was an insane shift that happened from not being even wanting to look at my feet, being totally disgusted by feet in general, to like understanding them as these wonderful gifts of amazing portals through which I could connect to nature, to life, through which I could connect to the web of life, to these energetic currents, and like be rooted and grounded on this earth, and which would allow me to have so many beautiful experiences, like running and dancing and jumping and all the things that actually my body loves doing. They're all possible because I have feet. And so this really was one of those ways that I saw how much this whole process changed the way I felt and experienced my body and my being. And in general, my relationship to my body changed completely. I started appreciating my body not as something I had to fix or adapt or squeeze in a box to aesthetically be pleasing or anything like that, but as my home, as this beautiful expression of my soul, how my soul wants to express in the world in a physical way, as something to love and cherish and take care of and feel at home in, and something that is for me, not against me, not something that I need to fix or control, but something, an ally, a beautiful expression of me. My body is me. I am not separated from it. My body is the physical expression of me. That's where I landed, and that was a really beautiful experience. And through that, I also noticed that I made so much peace with physical existence, with the material realm, with being a human in this world, and everything that comes with the human aspect of existing, with the material existence. That's really where the big shift happened, and where I started feeling like I can have it all. I do not have to choose between being able to live a happy human life in the physical realm and having amazing transcendental ascending spiritual experiences, being this spiritual creature that has this expanded consciousness and can do all this higher work and have all these amazing experiences and activate all these gifts and all these abilities within me. I can have it both. I can have it all. And the more I started living from that place, the more I started working with the feminine path, integrating that. An integrated spirituality, feminine and masculine, descending and ascending, working with the body, not against it, within the body, not outside of it, and raising the frequency of my body, taking also care of my physical body better, taking care of my whole being, not just my mind, not just my consciousness, but also my physical existence. The more I got there, the more whole my life felt, the more full my life felt, the happier I felt, because I realized that it is not disconnected. We disconnected, we split it in two. But in truth, your spirituality is not disconnected from your physicality. Your spirituality is your physicality, and your physicality is your spirituality. Your physical body is an expression of your spiritual soul. And in that, your spiritual soul is directly mirrored in your physical body. You see what I mean? It's both the same. And the more I also noticed that I was not anymore splitting my physical work from my spiritual work. I was more and more able, the more I healed that split within me, and the more I was working with that feminine path, that integrated feminine path, that includes both ways, that includes both kinds of practices and weaves them into each other. The more I was doing that, the more I realized that I didn't have to split my spiritual work from my physical work, but I could do my spiritual work while I was doing my physical work. They could both weave together. I can be in a room with people, having a meeting on a very physical topic, having a discussion on a very physical human topic, and feel energetically at the same time what the room needs and work with the energy, work with myself, do my spiritual work while I'm doing my physical work. I can go and take care and plant, actually that's something that I'm supposed to do today, plant my new plants and not just do the physical work of grabbing the plant, putting it in a pot, putting the earth and stuff, but do the spiritual work behind it, receive the codes from the plant and also give this nurturing love and work with the energy of the plant and do all of that and expand my consciousness through the consciousness of the plant. And I can do all that at the same time. But that only started being accessible to me and activating the gifts and the abilities that are directly connected to us having healed the split to a certain degree. It only started getting accessible when I was really healing that split within me. And the more I heal that split, and I'm still on the path, I think we all are going to be on the path for at least a whole lifetime. Who knows how long. I don't think that I will finish this whole process before I leave this life, because there's always more. There's always more available. The more that split is healed, the more these qualities, these abilities become accessible to us, and the more we actually realize that the divine is in everything. The divine is in the physical, in everything that exists, and it's not separate. And we can live as divine and as human at the same time. And we can even use our divine gifts and our human gifts at the same time. And we develop all these amazing qualities and all these amazing gifts and abilities. We don't develop them actually, we just start accessing them again, because all they did was fall dormant when we started splitting the two sides. So we just reawaken them and we bring them back. And that's where life becomes so incredible. That's where all the magic you have been craving or you have been thinking about, or all that you see. Magic is nothing other than having brought the physical and the spiritual back into alignment, back into harmony, back into integration, and what becomes available to us then. Because the most incredible gifts unlock when we do that, and we become true creators. We are created in the image of the Creator. It is said so in every religion that ever existed. And there's a reason why. Because we were created in the image of the Creator. And the Creator gave us a physical body for a reason. Because to create, we need to be creation and creator at the same time. We need to be in a physical body and be a spiritual soul at the same time to create in this realm. And what we do when we bring the two sides back together is we unlock our creational abilities. We unlock our creator powers like never before. And things become possible. Magic becomes possible like never before. Because magic is not actually something that is so woo-woo out there. It's actually something very physical and embodied. That's why with most magic, you see it's based on elements. Why? Because magic is actually just creation power, creational power. It's directly created to creation. And creation is only possible through creation. You see what I mean? How it's all interwoven? The elements are the foundational puzzle pieces to creation. That's why magic happens through the elements. Because creation needs to be created through creation. So it's incredible what becomes accessible for us once we heal that split. So this has been a long video. I really hope that served you. Please let me know what your experience is, what you've been through, what you think about all of this. Leave me a comment below. Just share your opinion, share your ideas, share whatever comes to you, whatever you feel like, what resonated with you, what didn't. I love to read your comments and I answer them all. So leave your comments below. And if you enjoyed this episode, click the subscribe button so you never miss a video. There's a new video every week coming up. And yeah, if you liked it, also give me a thumbs up. I always love to see who's watching these videos and who's liking them and who's enjoying my content. And I will see you in the next video of The Path of the Feminine. Thank you so much for being here. All my love to you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.